Good afternoon, Your Honor. Daniel Magoo.
All right. Mr. Gu, you are representing yourself. I do have to apprise you that you are before the court on charge of resisting and obstructing a police officer. That is a high court misdemeanor, or what technically is known as a high court misdemeanor, and or felony punishable by up to 2 years, $2,000 fine plus court costs. There are great perils in representing yourself in this. You have to understand that I am going to treat you the same as though you know the laws and the rules of evidence. I will not treat you worse because you are not represented. I will not treat you better or grant any favors or try to clarify anything for you. If for whatever reason during any point in this proceeding you wish to be represented by counsel and cannot afford to hire counsel, counsel will be appointed to represent you. As I have in the past hearings asked you to acknowledge what I've said, I'm going to only indicate that I believe that you understand English. You believe that the words that I have said to you are understood, so that we don't get into, you need to remove the gum from your mouth.
Mr. McGarr is back, and he's about to learn why having legal representation is so important. If this is your first video on my channel, this is part 2 of a video we covered a little while ago. In this segment, Daniel MCU refuses to answer Judge Simpson's questions and comes across as overly smug and dismissive, acting like the rules don't apply to him. As you can see, it's a rough start for Mr. Mio, and even saying the name feels a bit unusual. It really begins on a bad note, especially with him chewing gum in the courtroom while also choosing to appear without representation, which is generally not a good idea. It's a strong reminder not to follow that example. With that said, let's jump right in and see what happens next between Mio and Judge Simpson.
And
Thank you.
so I will not ask you to acknowledge. I will presume that you do indeed understand everything that I've said. Now, having said that, what are we doing with this case?
I'd like to move for evidentiary hearing or
You wish to have a preliminary examination?
preliminary examination. Yes, sir.
Would the people have their witnesses available the second?
We can try, Your Honor, but before moving toward that, would the court be willing to make its inquiries about discovery? I am aware of the defendant having filed a writ of mandamus with the Court of Appeals for the state of Michigan.
Yes.
That was subsequently dismissed without prejudice by the Court of Appeals.
Correct.
Contained within that, though, there are allegations that my office has violated its Brady obligations and has not provided sufficient discovery. So I'm not sure if we're ready to move forward to preliminary exam. The defendant is saying that he doesn't have all of the discovery. That is the concern. The record I feel compelled to make at this time, though, is that the people have provided, I do believe, complete discovery to the defendant, and I believe that some of the representations that were made in this writ of mandamus that has been dismissed appear to allege that things that have already been denied by this court should be produced. Furthermore, the defendant filed a motion with no notice of hearing attached to it. So there's an outstanding motion in this case as well, no hearing date scheduled. So I'm hoping that we can sort of reconcile both of those things as whether or not discovery is something the defendant is prepared to move forward, and if he ever has filed a notice of hearing to go along with the motion that I received in this case on 11/22.
Mr. Magoo, your response?
My response is that I thought this was the hearing that we were setting for the motion. So if I have to set a motion for a notice of hearing for that motion, I will do that today, Your Honor, promptly.
What about discovery?
I'm ready to move forward on my what I meant by my discovery comment was that there's still no exculpatory evidence as far as that I did anything wrong as far as anything that they've submitted. So if it was improper for the wording, Your Honor, I apologize, but my ultimate goal is have the prosecution present their evidence against me.
I'm going to indicate discovery is complete because I don't know what you're saying, because what you just said regarding discovery didn't make any sense. As it regards the motion, We will hear the motion or the motion will be heard on date of exam.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Deal with it at that point in time. So the people would have their witnesses available on the second.
We can try for the second, Your Honor.
Preliminary examination in person, January 2nd, 2025. 12.
Yeah.
12 noon, that is before me.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And continue.
This guy is a perfect example of why getting legal representation matters, and on top of it he comes across as very smug, trying to outsmart the judge, which really doesn't seem like a good strategy. If anyone has insight into why he's acting so irrationally, share your thoughts in the comments. To me, he gives off the same kind of attitude often seen in sovereign citizen cases, overly confident, confrontational, and dismissive toward the court. I've covered similar situations on the channel before, and that tone shows up a lot. In this case, he's facing a serious charge involving an incident with a police officer, and there are also custody consequences involved, which are not minor matters. Situations like that shouldn't be taken lightly. Yet he walks into court acting casual and denying everything while still choosing not to have a lawyer, which usually makes things worse. His behavior clearly frustrates the judge and likely many viewers as well. It highlights again why proper legal representation is important. Self-representation often leads to more problems than solutions. Overall, his conduct seems very immature and concerning. That wraps up my take for now. I'll share the next hearing when it becomes available, which should be interesting to watch. If you enjoyed this breakdown, a like and subscribe would be appreciated. Thanks for watching and taking care.